Which of the following states produce the most roadkill? You have a 1 in 37 chance of running into an animal on the highway if you're driving in this state.
Because embarazar does not mean embarrassed. Slightly different, just a tad off. It means to impregnate. The resulting slogan, it won't leak in your pocket and make you pregnant.
Oh, God. Yes, that's called a Monday morning. A day job. How tragic, said any member of any band ever. Yeah, man, we all go from rock god to undercarriage wrens in 12 hours. They forgot what it basically translates to in Chinese. Pepsi brings your ancestors back from the dead. Who would have thought of starting with the necromancer demographic? I mean, those rascals.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
Let's start off with Lost in Translation.
So back in the 1960s, Pepsi decided we're expanding into China. Forget Year of the Dragon. This is the year of effervescence. I love confidence, but maybe do some research first. What for? Their slogan at the time was, "Come alive with the Pepsi generation." Nice, energetic, sense of belonging, like being in a club. Maybe a little culty, but if we can make it there, we can make it anywhere, right?
Now, here's where things go spectacularly off the rails, okay? They forgot what it basically translates to in Chinese. Pepsi brings your ancestors back from the dead. Who would have thought of starting with the necromancer demographic? I mean, those rascals.
Pepsi's like unleash the spirit realm on a Tuesday morning, which sounds like a party time fun with a touch of witchcraft. Keep in mind, this is a country where 3 to 4 generations of family somehow live together in the same house.
Never happened here.
In the USA, that would be a divorce-doomed bloodbath of sorts. But I don't think Pepsi was alone in this folly.
Oh no, Coke too. When Coca-Cola first entered the Chinese market in the late 1920s, it didn't have an official Chinese name. They let shopkeepers produce their own phonetic version of Coca-Cola. That's like letting the internet name your baby. I mean, what could go wrong there?
In attempting to mimic the sound Coca-Cola with a Chinese accent, combinations of characters resulted in nonsensical meanings, most famously, bite the wax tadpole, or female horse stuffed with wax.
That's what I want in the soda. Yeah.
Sounds more like a round of truth or dare than an ultimate refreshment. Coke had to step in and give their own product a better name and eventually settled on Keyoke Kaylee, which translates to hasty fun or delicious happiness.
Bite the wax tadpole. Not to be outdone, Pepsodent rolled into the Southeast Asia with a slam dunk sales pitch. We make your teeth white. Simple, direct, because everybody wants white teeth, right? Perhaps not. Again, a little research. In a lot of Southeast Asian cultures at that time, people chewed betel nuts, which blackened their teeth. Black teeth were in. That was the look, status. That was beauty. The mouthful of Oreos look was in full swing. Had they ever considered local beauty standards? Because white teeth were seen as the opposite of attractive. They were compared to snarling dogs or demons. It was a great date until she smiled. I thought she was going to chew my face off.
In Great Britain, this telecom company launched a campaign. The future's bright and the future is orange. Optimistic, techy, simple. Who doesn't like an orange? And it kills. Huge success in Britain. So naturally, they go forward to Ireland. Just copy paste that slogan. Oh no. Epic fails once again, R&D department. See, in Northern Ireland, orange is more than a color used by citrus. It's historically, politically, and emotionally loaded. We're talking about the Orange Order, a Protestant group with deep roots in a very controversial history. So imagine you're a Catholic Irish viewer, you turn on the TV, and a commercial cheerfully tells you, you want better phone service? Convert to Protestantism.
What worked in the UK as marketing, suddenly in Ireland was like wearing the wrong gang colors on the streets of LA. To their credit, though, they did adjust the campaign. They made it culturally sensitive, a clearer connection, and no Molotov cocktails being thrown. Thank you very much. Coors Light decides to expand into Spanish-speaking countries. Their slogan, turn it loose. Like relax, kick back, have a beer, let the good times roll. Here's where it goes horribly, horribly wrong, because when they translate turn it loose, it basically comes out suffer from diarrhea.
Not exactly relax and unwind, is it? More like cancel plans and stock up on Charmin because Montezuma's Veg is right around the corner. Imagine the commercial. Beautiful beach with friends laughing, complete with cold beer in hand. Voiceover. Coors Light. Suffer from diarrhea. Cut to everyone sprinting in different directions like that scene in Bridesmaids in the dress shop. And again, no one bothered to test market this stuff. Frankly, I love how every one of these companies thought the same thing. New country, new market. Should we check with an expert? Nah. What's the worst that could happen?
The Parker Pen Company decided to expand into Mexico. Their slogan is simple, practical, reassuring. It won't leak in your pocket and embarrass you. Makes sense, right? Since ink leaking through Pinpoint Oxford is a boardroom nightmare that launched 1,000 pocket protectors. Hello, ladies.
Basically, the translators saw the word embarrass and went, oh yeah, that's embarazar. Maybe double check your pocket Spanish translator just once, because embarazar does not mean embarrass. Slightly different, just a tad off. It means to impregnate. The resulting slogan, it won't leak in your pocket and make you pregnant.
Oh, God.
Because I hate when that happens. I mean, pens rarely pay for child support.
That's a true story.
I just need to sign a document, not take a paternity test. I imagine competitors out there like, yeah, our pens might prematurely leak. And also, no surprise parenthood.
Okay, our feature interview this week is Bill Lindsey, vocalist and founding member of the Minnesota shock and speed metal band Impaler. You're not going to want to miss this one, folks, as we cover tons of great stories from Impaler's formation and history, being on Tipper Gore's naughty list, absolutely, the band's connection with Husker Du, the annual Minnesota Krampus Festival. We even get into the JFC. We even get into the JFK conspiracy and a plasmatics geek out, so stay tuned for that. I picked these songs carefully this week. Let's hear a little from the album Habeas Corpus, Lost on Monster Island.
I'm a pilot on a rescue mission. Great manner of life and death. Godzilla, king of the monsters. Blasting us with atomic breath. Lost on Monster Island. Lost on Monster Island. Rodan, the flying terror.
Yeah, let's talk about Patreon. The site is patreon.com/Snaggletooth Podcast, and for $6.66 a month, you get an oversized golf cart with highly questionable brakes full of market stays.
Yes, you get behind the scenes of takes, you get book reviews, you get music reviews that we have not done, and over there, we do ones that we also do not like.
We
Do
might
not
actually,
speak of.
we might roast them. You never know. Yeah.
So for less than you're spending for a gallon of gas these days, as it seems,
That's quite a lot, actually. Yeah.
you can help support this show.
Yeah, and this week I am going to the liquor store and I'm going to do the blind beer taste test with Stace. And I'm going to pick cheesecake and $20 bill IPAs to test her, what does she taste? Can she decode it? We'll have to get over there, Patreon, to see the carnage. And speaking of carnage, I think it's time.
And now it's time for Obnoxious Trivia!
It's a really good one this week. I know I always say that. This one, whew. Ah,
Will we be looking for documentaries?
we will not.
Oh, we
There
will.
are none available for these items. Okay. For example, number one, obnoxious trivia. Here we go. According to PowerNationTV.com, which of the following states produced the most roadkill? You have a 1 in 37 chance of running into an animal on the highway if you're driving in this state.
No way. A road up from ours, there was half a rabbit.
That's not good.
I know.
What a great segue there.
Yeah.
Is it A, Michigan, B, West Virginia, C, Colorado, or D, Ohio? Number one roadkill state.
Gosh.
I know this is why you logged into
Yeah.
this.
I think Ohio is probably too populated. Michigan's too cold. I'll go with West Virginia.
Very good. Ding, ding, ding. All right. She gets one right out of the blocks. Yeah, I figure that makes sense. A lot of elks and things. And yeah.
A lot of Smoky Mountain. A lot
Okay,
of
very good. All right.
back roads.
1-0. Number 2, biblical on your ass. In the book of Kings, verses 23 to 24, what happens to the prophet Elisha? Elijah. A, he provides water to a man dying of thirst. B, he chastises a young mother for breastfeeding her baby in a public outside the temple. C, some boys mock him for baldness, so he summons bears to attack them. Or D, he buys a bag of figs from a street vendor and is confiscated by Roman soldiers. The book of Elijah.
I think they were bold enough to breastfeed in public. Just say. Back then, I think that was a big no-no. Hell, you had to sit in a tent on rags when you had your period, hence the term on the rag.
Okay.
Yeah, you had to literally sit on rags. The bears thing sounds too ridiculous. Bears! I'm going to say D. He buys a bag of figs from a street vendor.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. It actually is C. It says some boys mocked him for baldness, and he summoned 2 bears, and they killed 42 boys. So how many boys were there? 42.
The numbers in the Bible are always skewed. Everybody's always 774 years old.
Bears, take care of this problem. Hey, Baldy. Okay, 1-1. All right, number 3. Which of the following was number 12? Sorry. I couldn't go with number 1. That would make too much sense. All right, which one of these was number 12 on the most banned children's book list on the website pen.com? So this is the 12th most banned children's book.
Okay.
A, there's a crocodile in my butt by Roger Beatty. B, 10 Feet of Dental Floss for Democracy by Rachel Sandbeck. C, Don't Get in the White Van by J.C. Esposito. Or D, Unicorns Are the Worst by Alex Willen.
Well, outside of A, I don't see why you would ban any of those.
There's Karens everywhere.
But I guess dental floss for democracy sounds kind of bad. Don't get in the white van sounds like solid advice. All right, I'll go with don't get in the white van because it makes sense.
Same thing ChatGPT did. Incorrect. It's actually unicorns are the worst.
Oh, I almost picked that.
The reason why is because the story is told from the perspective of a goblin, and in one page he shows his bare butt.
Oh my! It's like the Charmin bear.
Goblin butt. Can't show it. Very upsetting. Made it all the way to number 12. All right, so you got what, 1 out of 3 so far, right?
Yeah.
Okay, number 4. Let's wrap it up. What does the word Zugzwang mean? Is it A, German slang word for a train conductor? B, a chess term when players move worsens any move worsens the chance of winning? C, a wearable robot that sits on a runner's shoulders and dispenses tomatoes? Or D, an Austrian word for exhaust hood?
I don't think you should eat tomatoes when you run. I'm just saying. Why would it dispense tomatoes? Like banana would make more sense. Zugzwang. I'll go with A, German slang for a train conductor.
That was a red herring because Zug
Yeah.
is German for train. No, it's actually a chess term.
Ah!
When anything you do, like you were like, no, I don't want to move. Well, you have to move. And every move is bad. Man, you're fucked, basically. That's it. I thought you'd know that. I thought you'd have chess knowledge. I don't know. No. All right, so
I'm bad at playing chess. I don't know.
I haven't played in a long time. All right, so 1 out of 4. This has been Obnoxious Trivia. How many boys were there if 42 were killed? These are the things I think about when I try to go to sleep at night. Anyway, all right, it's time for our Snaggletoon. We're going to call this one the Lunatic Whinge. So there's this trend going around, and you know how much we love social media trends. POV. Nobody understands what it's like to go from this to this. And it's always supposed to be deep, like life-changing, soul-crushing. It is not.
It's called life, and no one is talking about it because why would we ever? This is not a discussion. First video, guy walking 2 dogs, sunshine, slow motion, he's smiling like he's walking on sunshine. Second video, dramatic music cuts. He's walking 1 dog. I'm so confused right now, and there is just no explanation. You just have to fill in the blanks.
And why would anyone be like, man, remember when I was 2 dogs successful? Nobody has ever sat in therapy like, It all started when I went sub one dog one day. Is this a tragedy or just Rover went home?
Then there's the car win. First video, flying down a scenic road in a sports car, wind in your hair, you look like you just escaped a heist movie. Second video, you're driving, a different car with a mopey look on your face. What happened here? Did you lose your Fast and Furious sponsorship? Did you get the I Can't Drive 55 ticket? Were you renting a sports car and now you're back in your Honda? Well, what a letdown. And the savings at the pump. I watched it 5 times. Like there was a clue I was just not seeing. Where's the tragedy? Is it the lack of horsepower withdrawal?
And my favorite, first clip, band on stage, crowd screaming, lights, energy, sweat, glory. Second clip, you're back to working at the car wash. Yes, that's called a Monday morning. A day job. How tragic, said any member of any band ever. Yeah, man, we all go from rock god to undercarriage wrens in 12 hours. And now everyone's acting like they need medication or a focus group to get over it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the last thing Stacey and I want to be seen as is insensitive. I mean, consider this situation. 1 minute, every toe is ensconced in loving fuzz, and the next, my big toe is freezing. The world is a cruel place.
I mean, this one might break me down. Spent the morning beating my best score on Cookie Clicker. The next thing I know, 0 connection whatsoever. I can't even DoorDash my Cordoba, my normal Tuesday ritual. No internet, no queso. Where did I go wrong?
I mean, consider how we, Gen Xers, adapted. One day we're joyously watching Samantha and Darren's wacky hijinks with Dick York. And then suddenly, she's married to Dick Sargent. They didn't even explain it ever. What a bunch of dicks.
We've all got our respective challenges in life, don't we? I can't tell you how many times I'm chasing the Roadrunner down the hill with my bat cape and skis. Next thing, I'm going off the side of a cliff. Luckily, I got a chance to hold up a sign that says, "No," before plunging 20 feet to the ground.
I mean, what kind of content is this? Slide A, you're doing shots, and slide B, you're hungover. Sorry, kiddos, that's just life. I mean, you've got to be ready for life's little inconveniences. One day you're holding up the Super Bowl trophy, and the next, as Chrissy Hine would say, it's back on the chain gang. Get back in the house like a pigeon from hell. I think the word appalling is becoming too nice to say about this. This is just so terrible. Let's hear Impaler's Lost on Monster Island.
The giant snake! Ninja! Son of Godzilla! Help me plan my escape! Lost on Monster Island! Lost on Monster Island! Lost tribe of Amazon women! Got me loose from Kumanga's web! Now I'm part of the mating ritual!
Let's hear about Imperfect Foods.
Imperfect Foods is this wonderful company that you can order food, drink, beverages, pantry staples, wine, produce, frozen food now. Now they've gone crazy and added the frozen food.
No blue cheese puffs, no.
No,
I never
you
came
didn't
back.
get those back, but you did enjoy one of their frozen items today.
I did, and their version of combos with the peanut butter, that's really good.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really like that. Yeah,
He had jalapeno poppers today. I made him in the air.
that was fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
of course,
Sitting
don't want to diet, but that's okay.
They have great meats. In fact, the shrimp we ate today was actually the imperfect shrimp. I didn't use the
That
other
was really
shrimp.
good. Yeah. I
And
thought I was so slick by only eating half of that serving, and then I was like, jalapeno poppers, I'll eat all of these.
they have great products that are their own, like their upcycled, whatever upcycled means.
What is upcycle? That's interesting.
Upcycled means? For instance, if you have some pretzels and they got broken and no one was going to eat these poor pretzels, well, they'll bag them up and sell them to you. They taste just the same as the regular pretzels. Anyway, they have everything from spices to, like I said, yummy produce. Our dragon fruit up there came from them this week.
Dragon fruit, yep.
You can get yogurt, dairy, cheese. We get cheese at the Yin Yang.
Yes, we do. Indeed.
So use our link and you can scoot over there, make your own account, and save off your first order.
Okay. It is time for Collecturbation. This is one of those titles that I have on multiple formats, which you will see. This is the band Hellmouth and their demo from 2008. Now, have you ever met someone that you would classify as a Hellmouth? Maybe a coworker or family acquaintance? Like the creepy aunt that has to explain her lactose intolerance in alarming detail to the entire family? Anyone who starts off a sentence with, "There's not enough Lysol in the world," should just stop speaking immediately, okay? I worked with these two women back in the early 2000s, and they had both caught their husbands cheating recently, and they were both in the throes of divorce. When these two got on a roll, watch out. They campaigned for mandatory castration of the entire male population on a daily basis with enough profanity to make Quint from Jaws blush. Then, of course, there was a time I got stuck on a plane with the CEO's wife sitting next to me, throwing back wine and confessing her husband's, let's just say, shortcomings. Her breath was so rotten it could singe nose hair, I shit you not.
In the case of the Detroit crossover four-piece Hellmouth, I can assure you, I was all but tickled to receive a copy of their extremely limited edition demo for review years ago. From the earliest days, these dudes got it. Venomous lyrics calling out the hypocrisy and gluttony delivered by sandpaper-throated screamer Jay Navarro. Guitars On proves to be one of the hardest working guitarists in the Midwest, pulling from a munitions box packed with original heavy riffing, along with all manner of wild bends, feedback squalls, and anti-solos. But the secret sauce may come from the bass player, Jeff Uberti, whose breakouts are always perfectly timed and, in most cases, push energy levels from intense to furniture smashing. Just throw on something like Blackest of Voids, with its creepy spoken word intro riding doomy guitar oscillations for almost a full minute, before the first Molotov cocktail of a riff flies. Crunchy mid-paced, hard-panned, and downright nasty against Navarro's disgustipated vocal delivery. I've climbed the highest mountains. I found there were no gates. I dropped to lowest depths. I found there were no flames. 3 minutes of pure vitriol and not a speck of cereal to be found. Let's play a clip. This is Blackest of Voids.
A secret obsession is my condition. A heart so no one knows. I've been searching, but there's nothing but nothing. No heaven, no hell, no soul. So I stop to question and take what's given. Just earth and sex and soul. I've climbed the highest mountain. I found the one no gates. I've dropped to...
In terms of up-tempo tracks, Blood of Pigs is pure thrashing madness from the word go. Drummer Justin Malik taking off in a cloud of hardcore fury, deftly inserting rolls and fills between the hard thrashing verses and the giddy-up of the chorus. The perfect foil to Owen's slashing riffcraft and Navarro calling out all things fake and corporate. The splendidly titled Pawn Shop St. Christopher is another furious nugget looking to bruise maximum foreheads inside of a 3-minute runtime, the climax of which finds the band alternating Zepp-style git wails against Navarro lines like "Neglect Family," "Filthy Fucking Liar," "I'll Be Glad When You're Dead." Finally, there's God's Forgotten Children, which flickers into view on a tritone-soaked intro that explodes into fury around the 30-second mark, guitar dealing out the hard-pan violence like a seasoned pro, as Malik again smartly navigates the tempo changes from doomy chorus and the lickety-split verses. This one scratches the I Hate God territory, with some one-word lyrical wanderings: drown, drift, cancer, failure. Folks, this sure as hell ain't Green Day. The attention to detail in the packaging of both the CD and the LP version of this thing is about as collectible as it gets. So for fans of stuff like Negative Approach or Pulling Teeth, this is the perfect soundtrack for a cold brew, a warm shot, or just a sigh of pure disgust, particularly when you have to hear an annoying coworker describing her husband's perspiration problems. Really, Janice? Let's hear a clip. This is God's Forgotten Children.
Failure!
was excited for our chat with Bill, especially after seeing some old video footage, which we discussed.
Yes.
But he still is out there. The last album is every bit as crazy as every one of his albums. He's out there doing it. He is the real deal.
Yes, he is. He's a real deal. Yes. Tons of great stories. This is one of our better interviews, and it's fascinating. It's a band that a lot of people have forgotten about, but he is still going strong. So take it away.
Yeah, infamous.
The PMRC's favorite target. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of zealots. The Peters
I mean,
brothers.
you had the honor of that. Oh, you were on the Tipper Gore's radar, and they showed your album covers in the Trick or Treat movie, like I said in the video. I mean, that's a double whammy right there.
A spy
Yeah.
tried to rip you off the shelves.
That the movie, the Trick or Treat movie. That's awesome that it was in there because I still love that movie. Just I read about that like in Hit Parader and stuff before it even came out because I knew like Ozzy and Gene Simmons were going to be in it and stuff, and it was about heavy metal. And then to find out that we were in it, I was like, whoa, that's really cool. It was a funny way that I found out about it too, was nobody told me from Combat that it was in there. And we were actually on tour at the time, and we were playing in Fort Worth, Texas, and it was on a Friday, and all these kids were coming up to us going, we saw Rise of the Mutants in the movie. And I was like, what movie? What are you talking about? Oh, a Trick or Treat movie, your album's in. And I was like, no way. I was like super stoked. And it was one of the last shows of that tour. And so like when I got home at like 2 a.m. and slept for like 4 hours, I got up and went to the movie theater like to see it on the big screen.
To see it on the big screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Ozzy with as the TV evangelist, or
Right.
the irony, that was genius,
Yeah. Well, he had a lot of people to learn from through his career, right? All of the people that condemned what
And I remember even then I thought Gene Simmons would never have the guts to go on and be the TV evangelist. Only Ozzy has the balls to do that.
Right.
And,
yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I still miss that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was really. I didn't see that coming at all. I mean, they just did that show, and I saw the headline. I was like, that can't be right.
It's almost creepy the way that show ended, and then he passed right after it. It was like he was done.
It was like a week or two later. I just
Yeah,
finished reading
that's
his
crazy.
book when he was talking about finishing doing that show and how much it meant to him and stuff. So
Crazy.
yeah. And then Ace, that was out of the blue. That one surprised me. With Ozzy, kind of like Keith Richards, you think they'll live forever, but it'll happen, but
Right.
just a matter of when. But Ace Frehley, that was like out of the blue. That really caught me off guard.
Yeah, I came home. He already had Ace on some talk show queued up for me. I was like, oh my god.
Well, I had to show her the Tom Snyder, I got a piece of pipe,
That's the greatest. That's
Yeah.
the greatest. My buddies and I that were in the band together at the time, we it was on a Halloween night, I think, and we went to one of the dude's house and we watched it in his living room. His parents were in bed, and so we sat in the living room and watched the Tomorrow Show with Kiss, and we were rolling because it was just like Ace was just on fire.
And then the disdain of Gene and Paul, they're just like
Gene more so
visibly uncomfortable, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's classic.
It's classic. Yeah, it really is.
So kind of take me back to the start. Who came up with the name Impaler, and was the whole horror bloodsoaked vibe the plan from day one?
Yeah, it sure was. Yeah, that was a deal breaker for people that were trying out for the band. It's like, we're going to do this, and if you're not into that, then we'll move along. We had to let a pretty good drummer. He's like, oh, I'm not into any of that stuff. I was like, okay, sorry. Next. But then, so how we started.
So you guys had just switched clothes?
Yeah, and it was like that. Her husband starts banging on the door, right? And I'm in a leather mini skirt and a T-shirt that says "Come on my tits," and I'm trying to like shimmy down the drain pipe out the window. And oh, hi, hey,
So we know you're here to check out our conversation with Bill from Impaler. But just a quick aside, we do interviews like this every week here at Snaggletooth, like our epic chat with Mike Sabatini from Attacker, who shares the tale of how they got onto the Metal Massacre 5
I
compilation.
think Medical Massacre would be good too. It'd be like a carcassy. It'd be like a carcassy kind of thing. Or our amazing discussion with Dave Overkill from Destructor. It covers everything from the recording of Maximum Destruction to smoking a pig's head for a photo shoot. Or especially our fantastic interview with Tim Baker from Sirathungal, which covers everything from seeing Priest on the Sad Wings tour up through his favorite breakfast cereals.
At any rate, subscribe today. And don't forget about our other podcast, the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast, also on YouTube. And now, back to Impaler.
Prior to Impaler, some of the key members and I were in a band called Fear No Evil. And we did mostly, when I say mostly, I don't mean all, but the majority of what we were doing was cool cover tunes from bands that we loved. We weren't doing, Night Ranger or anything like that was on the radio at the time. We were doing Plasmatics, Motorhead, Venom, and then we would we had a couple of our own songs, and I was writing a lot of lyrics at the time, and I wrote the lyrics for the song Impaler first, and then when Fear No Evil kind of fell apart and I was putting the new project together, I thought, that would just be a great name for a band. So I pitched it to those guys when we were forming the band, and everybody liked it, so it stuck.
The perfect one-word name. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
really
with an
is.
ER. I guess some other bands have liked it over the years. People try and use it all the time, so it's just like
I know. Aren't there like 8 Impalers on Metal Archives or something? It's just,
probably
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have Impale Duh.
Which
Yeah.
Impaled.
Or
yeah.
the Impaler. The
Yeah.
Impalers. Yeah, it's a great name. I mean, it served me well. And when I wrote the lyrics, I just finished reading Bram Stoker's biography and Vlad's history. A couple books I took out of the library, and that's what I came up with the lyrics for that song after reading those books. So read your books, kids. There's
That's
lots of
right.
good stuff in there.
We have a cat named Vladimir.
Yeah, we do.
That's awesome.
Because
You
he's a
call him
Russian.
Vlad
He's a
for
Russian
short?
blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a Russian blue and he's bad. I was growing seeds, peppers and stuff from seeds. He ate every jalapeno. Didn't eat any tomatoes. He ate all the
Yum.
plants.
Then we got to replant them all. Yeah.
So now your spring harvest is
Yeah. It's been
in
delayed.
Vlad's belly.
Yeah.
No, you'll have to start over
He
again.
only ate the leaves. All I have are sticks of these little
Oh,
seeds.
yeah.
So I was like, man.
My rabbits in my yard do that kind of stuff for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Cats, rabbits, they.
So when it comes to horror movies, are you a particular type? Like you like over the top gore, kind of black comedy thrown in, or does it matter? Or what's your favorite genre?
Well, with Impaler, people really think that I always get people when I'm talking to them, they go, "Hey, did you see the new Terrorizer 3 movie and stuff?" And I was like, "No, I haven't really watched it." I don't really my favorites are the Universal monsters and the old directors like James Whale. One of my favorite is the Old Dark House. I really go for atmosphere more so than gore and stuff, which probably sounds funny coming from me. But the early stuff, the very early stuff, the trendsetters, the groundbreakers like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Night of the Living Dead, that was hugely inspirational for our image, was Night of the Living Dead. And those movies are some of my favorites too. But then I kind of fall off after Evil Dead and stuff like that. I'm more picky about what, because I'm getting old now. So I don't really want to waste 2 hours of my time if it's, if it's not going to be a good movie. So, yeah. So I hope that answers your question. I kind of ramble being an old guy too. So just, bear with me.
Hey, we're not spring chickens. I was 15 when I bought your records. I mean, we go way back.
Did I understand right? Did you say you grew up in the Twin City area?
Or no. We're from Baltimore, but I'm just saying, like like when I bought that record, it's really true what I said in the review that they were all buying like AC/DC or something. And I
Yeah.
just was like mesmerized by every aspect of that album. And they started laughing at me. And I was like, how can you not want to buy this? It ticks every box. I mean, the way
That's awesome.
who came up with the title, If We Had Brains, We'd Be Dangerous? That's amazing. I mean,
That was me. My mom used to say that about me every once in a while. And so I just thought it was great, double meaning with a lobotomy and
yeah, and the misspelling, like kind of like Slade, the misspelling,
oh yeah,
and it's
Slade's a
drawn,
huge
it's finger
influence.
painted in blood. I mean, it was just man, I
Yeah.
still think it's one of the greatest album covers ever. I mean, just,
Well, thank you. Rise of the Mutants too. I mean,
yeah,
when we do covers, I when we do the layout or the artwork for it or the photography, I look for things that I would say, oh, that's cool. That's cool to
yeah,
me. So if you look at Rise of the Mutants there, I mean, that's totally Night of the Living Dead
yeah, oh
in
yeah.
my eyes. And I've got Alice Cooper White long underwear on. I've got kind of a Fox, Gene Simmons, Wendy O. Williams armor, and the liver and the body are totally Night of the Living Dead. And I don't know if you know the scene that really inspired me was you've seen the original, right?
Oh
George
yeah,
and
yeah.
Mark?
Yeah.
When they drive that car out to that gas pump and they're trying to put the gas in, and they get overrun by the zombies, the two
Oh,
teenagers,
okay.
and
Right.
then
Yeah.
the truck blows up, and then the zombies are like pulling out entrails and livers and eating them and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, if I could do that on stage, that would be
Yeah.
awesome. That's totally that's probably one of the biggest horror movies that influenced early Impaler,
How on earth did
including
you get a hold of a straitjacket for the album cover?
uh lady that helped us out a lot. Her name was Dada Envoy, singer in a punk rock band, and she sewed like nobody's business, and she made that for me.
Oh, she
And
made it for you.
yeah,
Wow. Oh my
yeah,
God, that's even better.
she
Custom
did
made
the
straight
makeup
jacket.
on. She did my makeup on the backs. Oh, I think both sides, the front and the back of If We Had Brains. She helped me
Yeah.
with that, and yeah, she just did a few different sewing things for the band, and she was really good. Her major was theater, so go figure.
Yeah, yeah.
She could do all
That's
that
great.
stuff.
Every
Yeah,
band needs a seamstress, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
like Elton John says.
That's great.
It
So
seems
for Rise of the Mutants, and Mark just showed me a very, very old video clip of you
Something
guys.
Dreams, Evil
Vicious
Dreams, or
Dreams.
yeah, yeah,
Vicious
yeah,
Dreams.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my God, I love it.
What is it that you're actually eating? Or I don't
it's
know if you
beef
actually ate
liver.
it.
It's
It's
beef
beef
liver.
liver.
It's the same thing that's on the Rise of the Mutants cover.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
We
You
used to
cut her
just
liver out and eat it. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
we just go to the grocery store before a show and buy a little tub of beef liver and add the vampire blood in a bag, and strap it to somebody. As the years went by, we figured out latex, and and it was a lot less, it wouldn't go bad.
Right.
We had a roadie one time who took the liver. And we were playing a show, and it was really hot in a venue that didn't have any air conditioning. And he, meaning well, took the liver and put it into the dry ice container. And so when it came to, it just froze it solid like a piece of wood. It was like, well, how am I going to use this? Yeah. So we figured out another friend of mine who's really talented. He's done a lot of the special effects makeups on different record covers of ours, Mark Lopez, and he delved into latex and making guts and stuff. And so he started making stuff for us and showing us how to make it, and using chamois, for the outside. And,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So that was a lot more practical and easier to use on the road too, because funny enough, some states you'd go to, they wouldn't sell the beef liver in a little plastic, deli container is what we used to find it around Minnesota and Wisconsin. But
Right.
we'd get out west and we'd go into a little grocery store and they didn't have it, so we'd have to improvise, go to the butcher table and say, hey, do you got something?
Wow.
But
That's dedication. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So, all right. So I have to ask you. So, all right, you were ahead of Wasp when Wasp started to blow up. Were you like, what the fuck is this? We've already been doing this. Like, what was your reaction to? They actually
And
got
wa-
on
and
MTV.
war too. Well, I think
Yeah.
well, yeah, we at least at the same time we
Yeah.
had everything. We were going here in the Twin Cities as Wasp, as we were becoming aware of Wasp, you know. And I liked what they were doing very early on, but I think that Blackie and I obviously have the same influences, being Alice Cooper
Right.
and
Right.
Kiss, and
Yeah.
but we took it off in a completely different direction musically, and we just kept doing what we were doing because we were just being true to ourselves, you know, the things that we
Yeah.
were into, the horror movies and that. And I think a band, and I'm not positive about this because I don't read every Blackie interview, but he always seems to leave the Plasmatics out, and to me they're just a glaring
Omission. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
omission
Yeah.
of something that must have inspired them with their, you know, nails and all that, because the Plasmatics were doing that stuff way before Wasp or
Yeah.
Impaler.
Yeah.
Plasmatics were a big influence to us. So,
And it's such a shame with that she killed herself when she did, because if
oh,
she
it's
had just
sad.
held on for a few more years, festival culture was right around the corner, and she could have
Yeah,
been like headlining these
Yeah.
big festivals. But if she just held on a few more years, but I know she had tried to kill herself a bunch of times before that, so it was just prone to her. Such
yeah.
a shame.
Depression is a terrible thing, and it's she was just sweet as could be. I got to talk to her on the phone.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. And a couple of my heroes, the way I met them was talking to them on the phone. I talked to Wendy O on the phone, and then I got to talk to Alice Cooper on the phone too.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
It's like,
wow.
cool.
well, I
Yeah.
guess I could die now. I mean, it's like,
Exactly right. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, she was very sweet. Um, there was a guy who was working for Combat, uh, and he went to work for Profile, and he knew how much we loved the Plasmatics, and they put out maggots through Profile, and
Okay.
he called me up, and Mike Schnapp is his name. He's an awesome guy. He helped us a lot at Combat. He was one of the few people that really helped us at Combat. And he goes, Bill, hey, I got somebody I want you to talk to. And I said, oh yeah. And all of a sudden, liver breath, Bill. This is Wendy O. Williams from the Plasmatics. And I was like, Wendy.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really cool. And then she sent me an 8x10, and it says, yo, liver breath, Bill is how she.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah. God, I
yeah.
love that first album. I loved, like, you could tell like they were doing their own thing. Like,
Hmm.
she introduced the songs like a quarterback calling out the play. She's like,
Yeah,
"All right, mutants, this
yeah.
is love kills," and
A
like, and
pig
she
is a
does
pig,
that.
and
Right.
that's that.
Like nobody else was doing that. It's just like,
Uh-huh.
no, of course you would call it out ahead of time.
And then well, you know, and then so my first introduction to Plasmatics was Metal Priestess, and that just the
Mhm.
cover for that just blew my mind. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is awesome. And then
Yeah.
I backtracked from there, and then of course I had Coup d'etat, which was, you know, their most metal album at that
Yeah.
time, and that was amazing to me too. Yeah, and Richie Stotts, what a showman. My God, I love that
Oh
guy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a nice man too. I've corresponded with him. He's really cool.
Yeah, there's not a lot about the Plasmatics online. We did a review of one of their records. I forget which one. I think it was the first one. And oh no, it was the Valley of the
Yeah.
Plasmatics. Is it the one with the
Oh,
horses on the
Valley
front?
of
Yeah.
1984. Yeah.
Yeah, Valley of 1984. Yeah, and it's one of our most popular reviews. Like there's just not a lot out there about her, which I find shocking because she's so influential on, like you said, people like Wasp and stuff. But you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Impaler for sure. I mean, I can't
Impaler.
speak for Wasp. Maybe he did mention that before. I have never read, but I don't ever see him giving her props
One
or.
thing about you, I did see your video. You're not doing the river dance like Blackie does, which is very
Oh
unmetal. I
no,
never
no,
liked
no.
that.
That's when that's that's kind
Like,
of when I fell off. When, you know, at first he was like more like Gene Simmons, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
uh by the time Last Command came out, he was prancing around, and I was like, oh,
Have you
what's
seen
this?
the Chris Holmes documentary?
Yes, yes,
It's
he
really
was my
good.
favorite.
It's
That was a
yeah.
great lineup, the early Wasp. What a band! What a fucking awesome
Oh
band!
yeah. And
And
the stuff he says
this,
in that documentary, like, notice that we're all on the first album, and then it's just him on all the subsequent albums. I never thought about that, but that makes sense. That's
yeah,
the takeover. The takeover. Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, that the first EP, especially with "Fuck Like a Beast" and
Oh
"Show
yeah.
No
Yeah.
Mercy," is probably my favorite Wasp
I
song.
think that offended Tipper Gore even more than you. You know.
I think it did. Yeah, she had all those albums on her lap. That's for sure.
Yeah. Was that a shot in the arm for you guys when you saw that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
we laughed all the way to the bank.
Exactly. I was gonna say, of
Yeah,
course, put that
yeah.
sticker on the record, and the kids
Oh,
are like,
yeah.
"I'm
How
buying it."
ridiculous. And then it was funny after all the hoopla died down, the bands that would put that sticker on their CD to try and sell it when there was nothing offensive about the band, and they had a parental guidance. Oh, let's slap one of those on there.
Right.
The kids will
Exactly.
like it.
Yeah.
The kids will want it. Yeah.
So
I
funny.
don't think we've ever had one on any of our releases. I'm sure we haven't.
Wow. Was there any particular cover that you got the most Karens complaining about or hate mail or
Oh, Rise of the Mutants for sure.
uh,
And then probably Undead Things is a close second. Um, we kind of went through, we kind of came full circle because we kind of had we're on hiatus for a while. And when we came back, I had a different lineup and we put out Undead Things. I don't know if you've ever seen that cover,
yes.
but
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'm laid out on there's a funny story about that photo shoot too, if you want to hear it.
Oh
But
yeah.
that one, Best Buy got their britches in a wad over that. And they wanted us to have a sticker to cover up the offensive area of the chest
The
wound.
autopsy.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
but then the press got a hold of it and they were like totally on our side. They were going, has anybody ever walked through the movie section at Best Buy and looked at the horror movie covers? Some of
True.
those are way worse than this. When did Best Buy become art critics, And like
Right.
it was really great. It was lit, but it stirred up some controversy too, kind of like Rise of the Mutants. Not to the same extent, but it was familiar to me when it all happened again. But that cover, that's a funny story, is when we shot that cover, I worked in a hospital and there was a building that was deserted that was attached to it through an underground hallway. And they had a morgue in there, an old morgue that hadn't been used for a long time. So I'm actually laying on a real morgue table and it was in December and it was a below zero day and there was no heat in that building. And I'm laying on a metal table with no shirt on.
Ah.
And
Oh.
we had Christmas music playing on a boombox. And then the photographer was like up on a ladder, like shooting my picture. And I just thought in my mind, if Tim Burton could see this scene, he'd probably want to put this in one of his movies. It was very Tim Burton-ish, the whole
Yeah.
shoot, but it was fun and it was cool.
Who did the special effects and makeup for that? Did you do that yourself?
No, that was Mark Lopez. I mentioned him earlier. He helped us out with a lot of that. He showed us how to make latex guts, and he made that apparatus, that application. And they had all these old scissors down there, the scalpels and stuff, and they just attached them to me. And
Oh my
yeah,
God.
there was a lot of
So
stuff
cool.
we just had in that room that we could use that was authentic.
So you mentioned Gore. Hypothetically, if Impaler and Gore were to go to battle, who do you think would come out on top?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. We don't have a dinosaur,
Yeah.
but I love Gore, but they come from a different place than we do. They have very satirical, like almost in a Frank Zappa way,
Yeah.
in what they do and the way they approach things, especially when Dave Brockie was alive. He was
Yeah.
really sharp. But it's different, they have their big puppet kind of theme, and then we have more of a beef movie kind of vibe to our stage show. But I love what Gore does. They're awesome. We actually played with them, not directly with them, But at First Avenue, there's 2 rooms, and Gore played in the main room, and then there's a 7th Street entry that's attached. And First Avenue said, we got to put you guys together at the same night. So we played in one room and they played in the other, and they shifted the sets. So it was
Wow.
really fun. It was really great.
Yeah.
It was
That
one of
is
our
cool.
Merry Krampus shows that we do in December. We do this thing called Merry Krampus, because in Minnesota we have a Minnesota Krampus Society, and
Oh,
these
wow.
guys,
wow.
they have the authentic costumes. They go over to Austria and these places, and they participate. They've watched the parades. Have you ever watched those on YouTube? Those Krampus
No.
parades over in Austria and stuff. They're amazing. They have floats that have pyro on them and angels dancing in cages, and they're all these Krampuses cracking whips, and it's really
Oh my
cool.
God.
So we have a society here that's a Minnesota Krampus, and so we put these. We used to have a metal show every winter called Frost Fest, and it just about 12 years ago, it metamorphosized into Merry Krampus, and we got them involved, and they come to the shows, and they're there in the audience, and doing photo ops with people that are there. They come up on stage with us, and it's really fun. Yeah. So that's another thing that we do with we kind of try and, when you play locally, you just try and spread it out. So we try to make them like eventful. So the Merry Krampus is definitely like our winter season kind of show.
I imagine there's a lot of plastic covering put down before.
Oh yeah, we do. That's why when we first started, sound guys were just freaked by us because they were like, "You're gonna spit blood into my monitor." Like, no, we have these restaurant mats that we're gonna roll out on the stage, and we got plastic to cover the monitors, And so then after we would work with them, the first time they'd realize, okay, they're not going to come in here and wreck our stuff. They thought we'd take an axe to the speakers or something. It was ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
Because there was really nobody like us at that time, especially here in the cities when we were doing shows. So we were doing this full-blown horror show, and nobody really knew what to expect or knew how we were personally. These guys must be on, some exotic drug, and they must be or out of their minds or something, but yeah, we approach it very professionally because we want to go back to places and play. We don't want to wreck anybody's stuff.
So Bob Mold producing If We Had Brains,
Mm-hmm.
like how did that happen? And the idea to put that so prominently on the cover, I remember being like, I don't know who the fuck Bob Mold is, but I'm buying
Yeah.
this. Like
his name was almost as big as ours on there. But yeah,
what was all that? Yeah.
Well, so this is another long story, rambling story, but the first person I knew was Grant Hart, and I met Grant, who's the drummer in Husker Du. When we were in junior high, we went to the same church camp together, and we bonded over Marx Brothers movies because we both loved them, and we both would just be, quoting Marx Brothers movies and running around. And it turned out that his mom worked really close to where I live. And so a couple times after church camp was over with, he went to work with his mom, and I rode my bike up, and he came down and had lunch at my house and hung around my neighborhood. And then that was when we were in junior high, and then we kind of lost track of each other. And then one day I was going into this record store on University, and he was coming out, and I was like, Grant, Bill, hey, how are you? And he goes, I got a band going. We're practicing down in the basement. Come here. You got to hear. And he took me downstairs to where they were rehearsing, and he played me a boombox recording of some of their first songs. And it was Husker Du. They were working on the stuff that was on Land Speed record, that would become Land Speed record. And it's like, wow, that's awesome. And so we kind of reconnected then, and we saw each other at a couple concerts and things, and hung out a little bit. And so then when Impaler was formed, and when we did our first shows, we played at a punk club called Goofy's Upper Deck. And all of the punk bands played there that came. Black Flag played there, Circle Jerks, the Big Boys, and of course Replacements, Loud Fast Rules, who became Soul Asylum, and Husker Du played there. So Grant came down to see us play, and then he brought Bob with him. And then like we talked about Motorhead and all the cool stuff that we like. Pro wrestling. Bob loves pro wrestling.
Oh, okay.
I love pro wrestling. Who doesn't? But
Right.
so anyway, so they came and then they said, "Do you guys want to warm us up for our Metal Circus, release show is going to be over at First Avenue in the main room, which is like our best venue in the Twin Cities."
I love Metal Circus. That's my favorite Husker Du. That
Oh,
is
it's great.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And they said, "You guys come and warm us up over there." And so we said, "Yeah." So it was like our fourth show. We were playing in the main room supporting Husker Du. And that was just great, And then they went on and did their things, and we were doing our things, and we put out Rise of the Mutants. And when it came time for us to do the next release, I was talking to Combat, and they were going, "Well, we'd like to get you like more of a real producer for this album, because Rise of the Mutants was recorded in a guy's living room,
Right, yeah.
And they said, "Can you think of some people in your town that live close by that produce?" And I was like, "Well, Grant Hart and Bob Mould both produce bands," because Bob was working with Soul Asylum.
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh my God, could you get one of those guys to produce your album?" And I go, "Well, let me make some phone calls." So first, I called Grant first, and his mom answered that. "No, Grant's not home." And I said, "When he's going to be back by any chance?" She goes, "No, I don't really know when he'll be back." And so I took that as could have been days or whatever, So I was like, "Wow, I'll just try Bob." So I called Bob, and Bob answered, and I said, "Bob, would you produce our new album?" And he goes, "Yeah, absolutely." And so I put him in touch with Combat, and they worked it all out, and we recorded at Nicollet Studios, where the Replacements recorded there. A lot of different, I heard lots of different stories, like Loverboy came in and did demos in there. Just a lot of national bands would go in there and do things too. But like the cream of the Twin Cities were recording
Wow.
Nicollet back in those
So you
days.
probably went to all those early Replacement shows that I would have killed to have been at. Yeah.
The first Replacement show I went to was at Jay's Longhorn, which I think there's a documentary coming out pretty soon about the Longhorn. But I swear to God, the name on the marquee, it said the Replacements, and I thought it was a weeknight, and I was like, maybe somebody canceled and they just found somebody to play. So we went down and we were shooting pool, and they started playing. And Tommy Stinson, I swear to God, I was like, "It's a weeknight. Shouldn't this kid be in bed?" Because he was like, he looked like
15 or something,
Oh.
wasn't he?
grade
Yeah.
schooler. He was
Yeah.
skinny, and he's
Wow.
playing away. And yeah, so that was my first Replacements, experience.
I could never get into him after Bobby died. Like, to me, Bobby was the fire of the Replacements.
Smoking and drinking.
Exactly. I mean, I love Slim Dunlop. I know Slim Dunlop was probably a more technical player, but something about Bobby, like that, he just, I'm just going to take my clothes off, like he was just that kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like,
He had a great feel. He rocked.
yeah. So
Yeah.
those early records with Bobby are just so great, so.
Yeah, I love those. Up Through Tim. Those are my
Yeah,
favorite.
all up through Tim. And the terrible production from, was it D.D. Ramone's? Terrible. Well, the production's horrible.
Oh, Tommy. It just came
Tommy
out.
Ramone, right?
Ed Stasium or somebody remastered and remixed it.
Okay.
They put out like a big package of the remix of Tim.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have the original, record from
Yeah,
back
I
in the
do
day.
too.
The real
It sounds
thin
good.
production.
It does sound good. I haven't bought it physically, but I listened to it.
See, this is so perfect because we're talking about Impaler, gore metal, and you and I are like indie rock geeking out, and like talking about,
I love all
Replacements
kinds of
and
music.
shit. It's great. It's great. Yeah.
When we went on the road, when we were it was in the days of cassettes. So one of my cassettes that I like to play all the time was on the A side was Red Cross Teen Babes from Monaco or Monaco.
Okay.
What's the name of that plastic company? Anyway, it was a Red Cross for cover record, and then on the flip side was Soul Asylum, Made to Be Broken, and I just flip it back and forth and listen to that. And
I only have the Red Cross with the, what's it, The Exorcist? What's the Red Cross with
Linda
The
Blair?
Exorcist? Yeah. That's I only have that one. That's
That
I
song's
know
on
they
there.
got really good after that, but I like them sloppy and shitty, and that album's so great to me. Like the Linda
Yeah,
Blair, so good. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
They do a great like Citadel from the Stooges is on there. They do a great cover of Deuce on there. It's a
Yeah.
really cool little record. I've always liked that a
Oh, I
lot.
know the one you're talking about, the cover album. Okay, I know that
Teen
one. Yeah,
Babes from I want to say
yeah.
Monaco.
It's the second release, right? It's
It
yeah.
was a
I know
big
what you're talking about.
plastics company that was poisoning everybody, and I can't remember
Is
how
it?
to
Yeah,
pronounce it.
I actually wrote a review of that record, but I can't remember the name of it either. So anyway.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So if you kind of look at your discography, you release some demos and two full lengths, then a demo, two more, another full length, and then two more demos. Was the reason you kept going back to demos like lineup changes or like a change in sound, or why did it happen like that?
no, the if what you're referring to, I think well back in the day we had to do demos. We did demos to get started.
Ah,
For our very first recordings were to take to clubs to show them what we were doing so that we could get shows and to send them to the zines because the zines did lots of demo reviews back then. But we did a demo that demos that we produced for combat, like before we did if we had
ah.
brains, we did a demo of like 7 of the songs that were going to be on the album. And Wake Up Screaming, I think we had some demos for that too. And then after that, when we had when it came back right before Undead Things, we did a demo that we were giving away for free at the shows just to get people reacquainted with us. So we did this one called Sonic Freak Show, and it had like 4 or 5 songs on it, and we give it away for free at shows. And that was so we use that as a tool for getting kind of get our footing back. Yeah, I think that's the last time we did any demos. But yeah, usually it was to show a record label what you were going to do or what you had
You were
planned.
ahead of your time. You were giving out your music for free. You were ready for
Yeah,
the streaming era, right?
we were desperate to get people to come and watch. That was during that was in the early mid 90s when, grunge was
Yeah, metal
exploding.
was in a rough place. Yeah,
Especially, theatrical horror metal. Yeah, so
yeah,
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 but it was really useful. I mean, we went through a few pressings of those until we got Undead Things recorded, and then
yeah.
So
yeah,
you mentioned Sonic Freak Show, the demo, and then I noticed on your last album while I was listening to it, you have a whole song, Sonic Freak Show. What
yeah,
is a Sonic Freak Show?
Impaler, a musical freak show. Yeah, our guitar player Brad, he said, "I love that title from that demo." He goes, "Why don't you write a song called Sonic Freak Show?" And I said, "Okay." I had to appease Brad, so yeah,
Yeah.
so I wrote a song.
I love it.
So on speaking of Spotify, so on your Spotify page, they have the songs from If We Had Brains, We'd Be Dangerous under Rise of the Mutants. It's like I almost couldn't find it. Like, do you know
Oh,
why it's indexed that way? Like it's not a separate record. It's like Rise of the Mutants, and then they tacked on the songs from Brains.
I think that might be because there was never in America there was never an official CD release of If We Had Brains except for the Gruesome Years, which had both on it, but it
Okay.
used the cover of Rise of the Mutants, and so a lot of distributors call it Rise of the Mutants rather than
Okay.
the Gruesome Years.
Okay.
So I know it was released on CD over in Europe because it was on a Kerrang um, combat release. They released all the combat stuff, and so
Yeah.
uh, they did do just a release of If We Had Brains on its own, but not in the
Yeah.
U.S. The only way it came out in the U.S. was the Gruesome
Vinyl.
Years. Yeah,
Yeah, I had a really rough time when I was putting up the clips for the review. I
hmm
literally had to rip the vinyl and upload it to YouTube because there is no, there is no MP3 versions of those songs on the internet at all. So It's one of the
Uh,
really rare times that I actually have to rip. I don't like to put
what?
the needle to the vinyl. I'm like that guy. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? I like to just, it's the showpiece, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But for your album, I had to do it because otherwise I couldn't put the music up. So,
Well,
'cause I
well,
couldn't
thanks
find
for
it.
doing that. Yeah,
Oh,
appreciate
I
it.
was going to do it. I want people to hear Impaler in 2026. I want them to hear it. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So,
I've seen Bloodbath on YouTube, but maybe it's the
but the
Bullets
YouTube, yeah,
compilation.
but YouTube's sound quality is dog shit. It's
Yeah,
terrible. Like, so
yeah.
that's one of the problems that I have. Like, I'd rather just do a vinyl rip because I want it to sound good on the show instead of it sounding like it. Because YouTube compresses everything and then compresses it again and then compresses it a third time. You know, it's terrible,
hmm
you know. So.
Well, I appreciate you going to those lengths to make us sound good. We can use all the help we can get. Right?
Okay. Oh, not a problem. Not a problem.
So you've had quite a few lineup changes, of course, over the years, with you being the heartbeat or maybe dead heartbeat of the band.
Mhm.
I love your coffin, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody should have one. Who do you think had the shortest tenure in the band, and what was the story behind that one?
Shortest? Hmm. I think Mike Robertson from he was in a band called the Quincy Punks, and he played with us for a very short time, like maybe half a year or something like that. I think that was probably the shortest tenure. Um, the only reason that he left, because he's a great guy, is we were offered to do Metal Meltdown in New Jersey, and he said he couldn't go, or he wasn't gonna be able to go, and so we had a parting of the ways then, because we had to go do that, because that was a big show. We
Yeah.
did like 3 of those, I think. They were connected with Jack Koshak, who did the Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Right. Okay.
He did them at the we played in the whole thing was set up at the Asbury Park Convention Center, and yeah. So then we had Tom Croxton came in the band at that point, and then he was in the band for like 18 years. But yeah, but the thing is like for the most part, a lot of the guys that aren't in the band anymore are still good friends, and have even come back and played certain shows or helped out at certain points. You know, it's nice to have a deep bench.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That question always reminds me. In David Lee Roth's book, he talks about like after the Vi years, he he had so many guitarists that came and went, and this one guy came. He played one show, and then Vi realized that I'm sorry, Roth realized he didn't own a guitar. He was like, "How can you possibly be my guitarist if you don't own a fucking guitar?" You're
Uh-huh.
fired.
Yeah,
I mean, just the
yeah,
stories. And you just, I can't even, I mean, this is like what, probably like 1993, 94, whatever, but it's just mind blowing that you'd be like, well, no, I want to be your guitar player, but I don't actually own a guitar.
yeah. Well, I remember stories too back in the day, like when you're first starting to form a band. We had a music paper here called City Pages, and people would put classifieds in the back looking for such and such. Want to put
Right,
this type
right.
of band together, right? And you'd call up somebody like usually you're looking for a bass player at one point. You'd call up a dude and go, "Hey, I see you play bass and you like Black Sabbath and stuff. Yeah, man, I play bass. Uh, I got to get the head out of the pawn shop, and can somebody swing by and pick me up?" And it's like, "Oh, see you late. Thanks for your time." Like,
Good
like
luck with that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
That's
Yeah, there's a
those
there's a
early
minimum
days.
requirement. You know, it's like,
You got to be able
own
to
an
get,
instrument for Christ's
yeah. Well, and you just got to be self-reliant. You got to be able to get yourself to practice and gigs and things early
Yeah,
on. You know, that was kind of like a rule with us. So
yeah, good.
No tutus or ballerina slippers, I imagine, is also a rule.
And the Brian Robertson Motorhead stories. Yeah.
oh my God, he was so mean when I met him. He was just really a prick.
You met Brian Robertson?
Yeah.
Oh, like when was this? Tell this story.
Well, so it was after we played with Husker Du at First Ave. First Ave said, "Motorhead's coming. Would you like the warm-up gig?" And we were like, "Hell yes." You know,
Of
because
course, yeah.
Motorhead is like, they changed my musical DNA when I heard Motorhead.
Of course, yeah,
Really,
yeah.
they were like a game changer for me. and I don't say that lightly, but it turned out that they were bringing Helix, and they so they wouldn't need us. And First Ave felt bad about it, and so they said, I tell you what, come down early and we'll let you in and you can watch the sound check and stuff. And we were like, okay, cool, so we went down there, and first one that walked in when I was standing there was Lemmy. And I said, Lemmy, God, I love you guys. You guys are my favorite band, and he goes, I said, can you sign this for me? He said, yeah. He said, I'll sign that for you, but first, where's the pisser? And I said, oh, I'll show you. So I walked him to the bathroom, and then I went and sat at a table and waited. He came over to the table and he signed my stuff, and he was just cool as could be. Then I met Filthy, and he was cool too. He was trying to get loaded in, but he stopped and talked to me and signed it. And I was not pesky. At least I didn't think I wasn't any, I wasn't aggressive or anything. Brian Robertson comes walking through the floor area, and I said, Brian, I said, could you sign this for me too? And he goes, after the show. And I said, okay. I said, I was going to ask him, where will you be? Are you going to sign at a table or something? I said, after the show. And he up in my face, and then he walked away. And but it turned out afterwards, other friends were at the bus, and they were Lemmy was signing stuff, and him and Lemmy were yelling at each other, having an argument. And this guy I knew gave his album to Brian Robertson to sign it, and Brian Robertson took the pen without the cap being removed and put his signature, just dug it into the vinyl, didn't even take the cap off, and gave it back to him. And I was like, that guy's a prick. So and sad, because I saw Thin Lizzy for the Jailbreak tour, and I loved him. It puts a bad taste in your mouth when somebody, I know people can have bad days, but you don't have to be maybe use a drunk.
I know. And it's because Another Perfect Day, I think that might be my favorite Motorhead album. I mean, it's so fantastic. It's right up there with,
it's really good.
With Overkill. It's really, really good. But nobody liked Brian Robertson. He didn't want to be in the band. He wanted to be like the guest artiste, He
looked like Spandau Ballet or something, Yeah, seriously. It's like, what are you doing, guy? Why are you?
He wouldn't play the old stuff. He wouldn't play Ace of Spades. And I mean, just it's like rock folklore.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Lemmy was the coolest.
That's so cool that you got to meet Lemmy. That's very cool. And Filthy, that's great. Yeah. They're all gone now. I know. There's a great, if you haven't seen it, there's a great show called Classic Albums. Mm-hmm. And they do everything. They do Ace of Spades, but they'll also do Peter Gabriel's So, or just it's a really good British documentary, right? And the one on Motorhead is fantastic. It's the original trio. It's Fast Eddie, Filthy, and Lemmy. And I always cry when I watch it, because it's they're all gone. They're all gone. And they're ragging on each other and making jokes about stuff. And it's hysterical. And it's they're gone. It's like the Ramones.
Three Amigos.
Gone. Yeah, it's a shame. And there will never be anything like that, again. So
a lot of my favorite bands are the whole classic lineup is gone. The Ramones, Motorhead, and then I'm wearing I'm sporting my David Joe.
Okay. Yeah.
The Dolls, they're all gone. Huge band for me. They're all gone now since David died, about a year ago. So yeah, it's very sad to me when my, and as we get old, and then when Ace died, it's when people like Alice and Steven Tyler, and Ace was tough. Ozzy was bad.
That's why, on our show, we always do 3 new band reviews, because we want to keep it fresh. We don't want to be, because otherwise I would get so upset, because it seems like they're all dying on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're trying to make sure that we also feature the new bands, that it's not dead. It's a process. It's continuing.
It's all a part of life. That's what I say when people say, well, why do you guys, write all your songs about death and stuff like that? And it's well, it's going to happen to all of us, every living thing, and might as well poke a little fun at it and embrace it, because it's a part of being human. It's part of being alive,
That's right. Yeah,
and then I think of Dickens in Christmas Carol when he said, you know, we're like to think of us as all as travelers to the grave, you know, fellow travelers to the grave. And it's like, that's so true. You know, everything that's living, it's going to happen. So that's kind of like where I pull my inspiration from when I write songs and it goes well with horror rock, right? I mean,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love the cover for The Great Hereafter. It's very sarcastic, you know, with the did you have to green screen that, or were you actually wearing wings?
oh, great guy, Dave Rubin. He actually did the photo session, and then he added the halo and the wings and the clouds to the. I can't fly that high, so he had to put
Okay.
clouds on.
I was
Yeah,
wondering. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I always hate it. You know, I work for a doctor, and you know, you think you're talking this somewhat like a patient who you think has it together, and then they start telling me this. They had a life after death moment, and I'm like, oh my God, I thought you were sane. Damn it.
Yeah, she has a
Well,
rough job. Yeah.
I worked in healthcare all my life, but yeah, I, I think there is, you know, but everybody has their own take on what it is. But I find those stories really interesting. But I love Bigfoot and UFOs, and
Yeah.
I love you know, near death experiences. It's all great. It's fodder for songs, really.
She
We did a
had a
whole album
lady.
on cryptozoology, so
Oh, that's
every
right.
song,
Yeah.
yeah, every song's about a different monster. What did he say about you? I missed that. What are you
Oh.
laughing?
She had a patient tell her she was trying to schedule, and she said, "How about Tuesday for your appointment?" The lady says, "No, on Tuesdays I make homemade pastries for the trash men."
And I'll disappoint them. I have to be there.
Well, the
mean,
trash men have to have their pastries, you know.
Yeah.
It's a hard job.
I mean,
When you work
it's
with the general public, you're just gonna
yeah,
have all
yeah.
of those crazy
Like she tells me, she's telling me these
interactions.
things, and it blows my mind. I'm like, oh my God, like, how would you? First of all, that you're doing it is one thing, but to admit it, so just to come right out and say it. I mean, you know,
Just said, oh, I can't Tuesday, but
no,
she had to tell
you
me.
had to
Wait.
say the reason. Yeah, it's insane, but yeah.
Each their own. You know,
I
when you
love
get
it.
old like me, you don't nothing like
Nothing shocks you
it
anymore.
just rolls off my back. And I worked in the hospitals, you know. I mean, I've seen people be in comas and walk by their room and they're in a bathroom brushing their teeth. I've seen these things
Wow.
myself. Just
Wow.
like you are supposed to be out in that
Yeah.
bed, you know. They have windows where they like have clarity and they speak to you, or they hold on till they see a family member that like somebody that's coming from out of town. I've seen that countless times. And
Wow.
then once the person comes and they get to say their goodbyes, they go, you know.
Wow.
And
Yeah, there's a name for that. I forget what it is, but
mhm,
somebody who has like this moment of clarity right
mhm,
before they die, and they
mhm.
seem like they're fine, and then they're not.
That's
Yeah,
heavy stuff. Yeah, that's
yeah,
heavy stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep it light. What do you want to talk about now?
So I love your attention to detail. Like, of course, there's an explosion at the end of Thermonuclear Man. Of course, there is. Do you plan those moments out from the beginning, or do you just kind of add them as it goes on?
Well, sometimes at practice when we're working the songs up to record, I have an idea like that. And then other times it just comes to us when we're mixing, you know, in the studio, and then go, hey, do you have this? You know, and then let's put that there. At the beginning, I have a really talented friend named John Eller, who's an amazing musician. He was in one of my favorite local bands early on, before Impaler was even a band, and he did the piano intro for me, and that was really special to me. And then we thought, you know what, we need to put ghostly whispers in here and stuff, and like, so if you listen to it, you can hear laughter and whispers
Yeah.
amongst the piano chords. And we just decided kind of to do that in the studio. And like our bass player Court, his daughter came and did female voices, and we just had fun with it. Yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely sounds for that intro part that you had a cat walking down a piano is exactly what that sounds like.
Yeah, we wanted a really haunted house. You know, I sent John a picture of this Halloween haunted house, and I said, make it sound like this. That's all
Okay.
you know. I said maybe a little haunted mansion, Disney, but
Yeah.
make it
Yeah.
sound like this. And I just sent him a picture that I had of a haunted house. It was a Halloween decoration. I thought he did pretty good.
It did. And I definitely could really hear the Motorhead and Krampus. Do you know how they do you have to downtune the guitars to get that kind of really low effect, or is it all pedals?
Um, you'd have to ask Brad that. I no, I don't think they didn't down tune for any of the tracks on that album that I can remember. That's just out of his hands.
Wow.
His crazy sausage fingers.
Where did you come up with the inspiration? Death was a horse. If death was a
That
horse.
that was written for our friend Eric, who was we've only had two bass players in Impaler, the original Court. And Court left for a while because his kids were real little and he was going to school. And so he stepped down, and we had Eric Allen was our bass player he was on a Sonic Freak Show until um, Old School Ghouls was his last album that he did with us. And he died, and he had cancer, and he was passing. And so it was written for him. And whenever we play it every show, and we always dedicate it to Eric because it's about him. And actually we recorded it when he was actively dying. When we were finished recording, he had passed, you know. So
Wow.
it's about Eric. It's about just death, you know, like we talked earlier about how we're all going to die.
Yeah.
And just, you know, as it being a part of the human condition, there's some kind of comfort in there.
It's true though, although I have more and more patients who are over 100 and just like they bring themselves there. They're not in the wheelchair. It floors me more and more every year. I looked up at this one lady. I'm like, you are 102. She's like, I know.
Yeah.
And I said, did they have a big party when you turned 100? She was like, no.
Well, wait a minute. And then remember what else she said?
Oh,
What's the biggest problem with being over 100?
Esther, what she said, there's not enough men.
Not enough men. Because remember the Joan Rivers, where Joan Rivers would be like, any man that's still alive over 70 is a catch,
Yeah.
no matter how crazy he is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny what you say, because it's like I'm retired now, but my last job I was working in a physical therapy clinic, and just some of the people, some people would come in and their age would be by their information, and you'd look at their age and go, oh my God, that person's younger than me, but they look like they were like 20 years older than me.
Right,
And then
right.
other patients would come in, like you'd say, with their big earrings and their big sunglasses, and she's 95 and she comes in and does her PT workout, and it's just like, you're amazing, you know. It's
Yeah.
just a wide spectrum of what you see.
It's just a number. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we play a game on the show. It's 5 random questions. So I have 100 questions in front of me. So I want you to pick 5 numbers between 1 and 100.
Oh man. 5,
Yeah.
12, 28, 66, and 99.
All right. Number 5. If you were a cartoon character, who would you be?
Oh, I love that question. Let's see, who would I be? Because I'm a cartoon connoisseur. I love, especially old 60 from early Disney, or from the early Felix the Cat through
yeah.
the 70s stuff. So there was a cartoon called King Kong that was based on King Kong, and King Kong is my favorite movie of all time. So I would be King Kong, the cartoon King Kong.
That definitely fits.
Whenever I watch King Kong and they're doing the Empire State Building scene at the end, I
Mhm.
always picture that there's some guy on like the 18th floor, and they're like, "There's a giant ape, and he's destroying the building. You got to get out." And he's like, "Oh yeah, well I got to get this check run done. So fuck you." Like he will not evacuate.
Right. I mean, I, I, I get sad at the end of King Kong. Ever
Yeah.
since I was, the first one through the one Peter Jackson did, it's like very sad to me.
Oh yeah, it is very
Yeah.
sad. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, there's a song that we have called Sci-Fi Classic, and one of the lines is why the hell did they kill King Kong? Because I want to
Yeah.
know.
It's
All right,
interesting.
sorry.
Godzilla versus King Kong in Japan, Godzilla wins. In the US, King Kong wins. That's so interesting to me,
Mhm. Yeah,
Home team.
It's home team advantage. Yeah.
I love Godzilla, but I'm Team Kong.
Okay.
12. What's the weirdest combination of food that you enjoy
Weirdest
that
combination.
other people might find odd?
I like beer and chocolate together.
Oh
Some
wow,
people
that's
find that
interesting.
strange. Yeah, sweets and beer go good together, and for me, I guess
What about
that's
chocolate beer?
Yeah.
no. I like beer to taste like beer. I'm not a beer snob. Like PBR, give me a PBR, or give me a Hams, or I'll drink craft beers, but I prefer my beer to taste like beer.
Yeah.
And then if I want to have a Snickers bar with it, then I'll have two.
That's interesting. Yeah.
We like the craft stuff, but we don't like the stuff that tastes like a Jolly Rancher, like the stuff that's really sour.
Yeah,
Ugh.
Yeah.
yeah.
We accidentally ordered that at a restaurant. And,
Mm, yeah.
I had to choke it down. Yeah. It
That's
was
the
rough.
thing with you had to take one for the team, right? If you plug your nose and
Yeah.
drink it fast, you don't taste it then,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
yeah, those things
Yeah.
are. Now we like scour. Does it say sour?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
28. Have you ever tried acting? Well, I guess you have in a way.
Yeah. I was I guess, with Impaler it is, there's an element of that to what we do. Because I'm not an axe murderer, but I play one on TV. I've done little things that are just little things for people's projects, but nothing big. I guess my biggest celluloid moment is being on Trick or Treat with my
Yeah.
picture.
That's right.
Picture
That's a
on
great
my
one.
head.
Yeah.
You'd have worse things than that.
Absolutely.
All right. 66. Have you ever had a wardrobe malfunction or seen one happen?
I haven't had a wardrobe malfunction, but early on when we made our own props, so friends of mine so we made a cage. I used to come out of a cage, right? And so it was prefab. We put it together 4 sides, and one had a hinge on to open, snap together. And people claim that I got stuck in it, and that is like in Spinal Tap when he gets caught
Right. I was
in
going
the
to
pot.
say, yeah.
But that is not what happened. I'll tell you what happened, and this was the malfunction. I went to kick the door open, and the other sides weren't properly attached, so all 4 parts of it just fell out onto the stage. So I was standing there in the middle of like 4 walls to the cage, So yeah, that was a wardrobe malfunction, I guess.
That's awesome. You were like, well, you could just act like that was supposed to be what happened, right?
Equipment
Yeah.
malfunction. Yeah.
And you had 99. What is your favorite conspiracy theory?
Oh man, there's so many. I guess the first one that pops into my head is the JFK murders.
Well, that's been solved, right? I mean,
I
have you
don't
seen
know.
Oliver
Is it
Stone?
really?
Yeah, Oliver Stone, JFK,
Oh.
through the Looking Glass.
That
It
was
was Alan Dulles. It was Alan Dulles killed JFK. That's been solved.
Huh.
And it wasn't until they opened up all the files to regular people. Regular people went into the Library of Congress and figured it out.
That's crazy.
I think that you're trying to make another conspiracy.
I'm not. I swear to God. I mean, I've watched that movie like 6,000 times. You know,
That's
like,
just personal, you know.
I
Yeah,
like but I'm telling you, like it's and they have all these interviews with Alan Dulles when they keep asking him, are you pleased with the way the Warren Commission went? And he's like lighting his pipe. He's like, oh yes, it went perfectly well. It went perfectly well.
yeah, yeah.
He put the media to sleep. He did it all. Like it was like I don't think he could have done that 10 years earlier or 10 years later, but he found a way to get it done. So
I read a book, and I cannot remember the title of it for the life of me right now, but it was all these people that were connected to the JFK shooting that ended up dying in mysterious ways.
right. Yeah.
And like a taxi driver, um, just all these different people that had been around the scene or took Oswald to the movie theater, they ended up dying too. So it's just like it's really intriguing. And that's the first one that pops in my head. I maybe have a more favorite one, but I just put on the spot like this.
Anyway.
So, how did you hear the news that Impaler was honored with the star? And that's a big honor. Did they tell you, or how did you find out?
At First Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't know we were getting a star until they put those up. Have you ever seen what the first one looked like?
Yes.
The first star that they made?
Yeah,
It just was like kind of crosshead, like almost like they had a kindergartner paint it, which was cool. But then when they repainted the building for the I think it was the 20-year anniversary, they repainted the stars and then they put it more legible. Yeah, it's a huge honor. I because I love playing that club. It's the First Avenue clubs are probably the ones that I've played at the most throughout Impaler's career. And a
Wow.
little bar downtown St. Paul that was called Ryan's Corner and then became Station 4 and another name before it closed down. Those were kind of like the places that we played a lot.
Yeah.
Over the years, have you figured out ways to maintain your voice? We've heard people use throat coat. We heard people do the Tom Uriah T thing. Do you have any special things that you do, or just naturally talented?
I snore loudly. I think that kind of keeps my vocal cords loose. Well, thank you for thinking that it's talent. My mom calls it screaming. I call it caterwauling, but thanks. I no, I don't do any. I don't even warm up before.
Wow.
Sometimes I do these things, because otherwise some of the first words come out and they're kind of like stuttering and like a stuttering fool or something. So I try and loosen up my jaw and my lips a little bit, but I don't do any la 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 la.
Okay.
Aluminum
Some bands we
linoleum.
play with, they do that. There's somebody in a bathroom doing that, like, oh, he's warming up.
Wow.
So I have a beer,
Yeah.
maybe two. I don't try and drink too many, when you get older, you get wiser too, right? But I do like, I love the taste of a real beer.
Yeah.
It tastes like a real beer. And then, I like to have one of those like before we go on stage. And then I usually have one on the stage to sip on while we play, just to keep my throat lubricated, and a bottle of water too. So that's the extent of my vocal preparations.
I have this theory that there's a certain body style with singers that can keep their voice like almost indefinitely. Bruce Dickinson, Ronnie James Dio, Udo Dirkschneider, Klaus Meine. They're that kind of short. John Bush,
Mm-hmm.
short guy. David Coverdale doesn't have that.
Yeah.
John Bon Jovi sure as hell doesn't have that. He sounds like dog shit now. So I think that if you have that short, stocky build,
Petite.
yeah, you can belt it out for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Or if you just don't try to be an opera singer, like Lemmy, his voice was never going to be shot,
Right.
Right. It's
He
always
didn't
gonna,
want to be the singer. Like I remember like interviews where he would be like, because some of the albums Fast Eddie would sing, and he would say he would force him to sing. He'd be like, "Man, your voice is fine. For fuck's sake, you sing this." And he's like, guitarists never want to sing.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think, yeah. But then you have somebody like David Lee Roth who you think, well, his voice won't get worse. And then it did.
And then it did. Yeah.
What?
It really did. Yeah. Like that later stuff is embarrassing. It's really bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
which I
but
loved
again,
him.
but he doesn't, but he was tall. He didn't, he was, I mean, what is he like
Yeah,
six
there you
foot?
go.
He doesn't have
I
the
am
Ronnie James
too.
Dio body. That's the thing. You need that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Yeah.
6'1", so I don't fit in that.
So you got to be careful. Take
Yeah,
care of
I'll be
yourself.
careful.
Take care of yourself. Yeah.
I'll start doing vocal exercises.
You got to do some opera. Get that James Hetfield, the la 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 la. Get that,
Uh, la
the
la la
warm
la
up
la
tape.
la.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that you at a show like the Turf Club. Who are your favorite bands that you like to play on the bill with there, and who's one that is likely to bring a lot of chaos to the mix?
Well, let's see. At the Turf Club, um, that's in St. Paul. So like a lot of when everybody talks about Minnesota, they say Minneapolis music. But I grew up in St. Paul and the Turf Club's in St. Paul. So that's like my hometown club. I used to wait for the bus in there when I was a kid and buy a Coke in the wintertime because I didn't want to stand out at the bus stop. But that being said, let's see. Dumpster Juice. I love Dumpster Juice. They're like one of my favorite bands of all time. And I love to play with
I
them.
love the name.
Isn't it awesome? Their first promo is the drummer, he sold motorcycle parts. So they had they're in a dumpster with this big gorilla ape hanger sissy bars, or the what am I trying to say? Help me. The bars off
Oh, the full orangutan.
yeah, what it's just a great picture, and they're all in this dumpster, and it's like it's really cool.
Yeah.
Just the handlebars, I guess that's what you call it. I try and like think of words sometimes. Words are hard sometimes. But I love Dumpster Juice. I love there's a band called Fret Rattles, and I love to play with them. They're balls out rock. They're like old Detroit rock, and it's really cool. There's a lot of good bands. Extermination Day is a great band. But I'm kind of biased because some of the guys I have a Stooges tribute band that I do,
Oh, wow.
and we just do the first 3 albums and the singles, and that's it. And a couple of the guys in Dumpster Juice and the guitar player in Extermination Day are in The World's Forgotten Boys with me, and we do that, a few times a year. We do a show, and it's a lot of fun because I love the Stooges so much.
Do you think will the weirdness grow on you? Or is that going to grow on us, or is it just a terrible album?
Yeah, I think it's grown on me. At first, Ron Ashton is the star of that album. If you listen to the riffs and the guitar playing, that's worth the price of admission to me. And the
I
song,
didn't hate it as much. Everybody hated it so much. I didn't think it was that bad. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I really thought Ron was like in really great form for their comeback. They did a couple songs on a earlier album where they did Skull Ring and Electric Chair, maybe. I can't remember the titles of the songs, but they did like 2 songs at the end of a Iggy album, and I thought those were really great. And then they did The Weirdness, and then that's another band where everybody's dead except Iggy. Ron, Scott, Dave Alexander died a long time ago.
I just think the expectation it was ridiculous. It's like what did you think they were going to give you? Like it's just it sounds like the Stooges. It's not a bad record. I mean,
it's not Iggy's best lyrical, accomplishment, I think.
Right.
But that being said, it's the Stooges, so I love it.
Yeah.
But and then what was the second part of that? The most chaotic band?
Yes.
There was a band that played here, some guy that it was called Metallica, and they did Metallica songs, but the singer dressed up like Gallagher, and he broke watermelons on stage with the sledgehammer. And that was the most chaotic because they made a bigger mess than Impaler.
I'll bet.
They also used plastic, so they were could clean it up pretty good. Yeah, but that
Who
was
comes up with these things? Metallic.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That was in the early 2000s. I don't think they even do it anymore. It was guys from different
Wow.
bands, but yeah, Gallagher was probably the most chaotic.
That's great.
So it looks like from your social media posts, you're brewing up a new EP.
Yeah,
Um,
hmm we're we're kind of wrapping it up very soon. So the next show that we do will be the release for it on June 12th.
Oh,
So
cool.
it'll be
Awesome.
out.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
That's right around the corner. Yeah.
4 song EPs have been good to us. So
Yeah.
we're doing a 4 song.
I know people don't have the attention span for full records anymore. It's all like, give me 3
Well,
songs, give me
yeah,
4 songs, Yeah.
and like we don't. uh, Should I say we're lazy? We don't rehearse like as much as we used to, and so to get a group of songs together, it's like, oh, forget about it, because it's like when we do get together, we're doing a show, and we have so many songs, we try and mix up the sets.
Yeah.
So when you're playing locally, you don't want to be playing the same 13 songs every time you play. So,
Right.
and we have a lot to pull from. So generally when we're rehearsing a set for an upcoming show, and then we have this new song on the back burner, and it's like, okay, let's do that, and then it falls to the wayside. So actually getting these 4 songs together we were kind of on the struggle bus, I guess, because it's taken a while, but we're older now, and it's just
So what's your Ace of Spades song? What's the song that you have to play, or it's not an Impaler show?
shock rock.
Yeah, okay. Shock
Shock
rock.
rock
There it
has to
is.
be
Right out of the
played
gate. Yep.
yeah.
If you don't play
It's
shock rock, I'm walking out going, fuck these guys. Right?
it's always the last song, so they got to hang around till the end of the show to see it. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
There it is. Yep.
kind of wraps the whole Impaler psyche up in a minute and a half. But
Okay.
when we do it, we have the big disemboweling wrestling brawl.
I would hope so. I
Yeah.
would hope so. Yes.
So it's extended from the version you hear on the EP there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
so are you planning any festival appearances or just sticking locally for now?
We have played a lot of festivals, but we're currently not on one. We played like the first Milwaukee Metal Fest that when they rebooted it. We did that, and we played one out in New York. But there's not one on the books right now. But yeah, it's nice. I like doing them. We did the last Ragnarok. They changed the name of the festival now in Chicago. We did that one too, and it's great because you play to a big audience that's from surrounding areas. People who will come from the
Right.
surrounding states to a festival like that. So you get a lot of exposure with one show, and it's instead of going on the road and having to hit every one of those states. So
Yeah.
I love doing them. I like to do them.
We always say we'll have to go. There's so many good bands from,
The Midwest.
the Midwest,
Right.
especially like Madison, Wisconsin. Every time we sneeze, there's another great band from Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And
Madison is a great town too. We used to play at a place called O'Kay's Corral. That was awesome. And it burned down. And that was sad because it was a fun little dive bar right off the campus by the Capitol in Madison there. Have you been to Madison before?
we haven't. We've
You should visit Madison.
Well,
Yeah.
I've been to Milwaukee a bunch of times, but that was all for work, So, but yeah, Madison is a place where we definitely want to go to because we have so many bands that we like from out there, like Last Crack and Vanishing Kids, and
Ruined Dweller.
Realm.
Ruin Dweller. There's just so many, So
So
Yeah.
it was pretty fun this year because we had interviewed Last Crack, we interviewed the Vanishing Kids, and then we did Ruin Dweller. Well, they ended up coming to Maryland Doomfest. So Butto is now Vanishing Kids, their
Oh.
drummer,
Right.
And so we got to meet him, and then we got to meet Vanishing Kids again with Jerry and all. Jerry's crazy. He's up there behind us somewhere. And
Uh-huh.
then the guitarist for Rune Dweller came out to play with them live. I was like, I gotta buy you everybody a beer. This
Yeah.
is great.
It was really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Well, that makes it fun.
Yeah.
So now we'll have to add you guys to the list.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do Maryland Death Fest one of these days. We've never been asked, so I should maybe pursue some of those people more. But generally, they come to me and ask me, make it easier.
Yeah, you-
So is Paul Westerberg calling you up going, I'm thinking about harmonica on this song, Bill. What do you think? Is that happening?
You know, yeah, maybe he's going to produce the EP for us.
Yeah, I wasn't
The,
joking in the review. I was like, you had mold, get Westerberg. What the hell, Yeah.
Yeah. I guess my replacement story is Tommy had a band where they were like kind of a glam cover band called Spider Bite that just did off shows in the cities here, and they played with us at First Avenue for a Halloween show one time, and he had some big Nikki Sixx boots on. I don't know where he got them, but yeah, might have said Tommy down the side instead of Six. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know those guys as well as I knew Husker Du.
Gotcha.
But, I certainly love their music.
Yeah, me too. Well, thank you again for doing this. This was great. We had a great time.
Thank you
Well,
so
thanks
much.
for having me. And so the EP is going to be called Covered in Dirt, and when it's pressed up, I'll send you one.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Very good.
Falling on deaf ears.
Okay, Deaf Ears 1.
This is Noise with Fate of the Union.
Let me just interrupt here and say what an idiot I am, because this is an Oi band and they have NOI exclamation point. It took until today for me to realize, oh, the word Oi is in the name. Duh. Anyway, go ahead.
Edgar Allan Poe wasn't born in Baltimore, but he did die in a gutter here. So yeah, we're claiming him. I mean, what macabre poet and writer doesn't dream of having an NFL team named after their works? In a similar way, Oi took shape in late 70s London as a part of that first wave of British punk, rooted in street culture, skinheads, punks, and those rowdy soccer terrace crowds. But like any raw, no-frill energy, America got his hands on it. We took those mid-tempo stomping rhythms and made them ours, perfect for drunken sing-alongs or, starting a riot or Tuesday night small uprising. Enter Tacoma's own street punk bruisers, Noise, back after a 10-year gap with their third release. And let's be honest, fans have been stomping their combat boots for a while now because apparently a steady drip of singles and EPs wasn't cutting it. These thirsty people wanted a whole bottle of water, not a Dixie cup.
This time around, there's a noticeable shot of adrenaline running through the veins, and that likely comes from the rebuilt lineup. Matt Henson is still front and center, the backbone of the band, sounding as sandpaper coarse and resolute as ever. Then you've got the return of that dual guitar attack, Justin Miller and Kenny Dirks, bringing that rising tide era magic. Let's not overlook the new rhythm section. Aaron Williams on bass and Mike Parker on drums, locking in tighter, heavier, and more intense grooves. This really does feel like the perfect storm. We get 10 tracks, all living in that classic punk 2 to 3 minute range, and every single one of them hits like a pot shot to the nose. There are plenty of standout tracks on Fate of the Union, but You versus You really resonates with me, probably because I tend to be my own worst enemy. Diet, exercise, and a few glasses of wine later, an entire plate of nachos with extra cheese suddenly seems like a brilliant plan to undo all gains. The track opens with Parker laying down a commanding kick drum thud, punctuated by sharp snare pops. Williams joins in with grooving bass line, dipping and diving, sending cascades of notes tumbling. Soon the guitars breeze in, dangling one chord strike, sliding and eventually bunching into grinding riffs that sift through chord changes like a NASCAR driver flipping through gears, slowly accelerating to cruising speed.
Henson's vocals are bristly and ruddy, launching into a dense, word-packed verses with just a hint of melody and a ton of disdain. The chorus is stamped with gang-style echo of phrases, culminating in the gruff shouted, "You versus you." Perfect for acknowledging that yes, maybe being late to work was entirely your fault. A nod to East Coast doo-wop roots comes in with some well-paced wah-oh-ohs, giving the later verses a melodic lift. A soulful, whining, rambling guitar solo erupts near the end, gliding across the frets like a kid on ice skates. Let's play a clip. This is You versus You.
Another standout for me is media alchemy. The term itself perfectly captures the TikTok era magic trick. Take low value or raw content, wave some algorithmic wand, and poof, try to turn into engaging material. It's like those original alchemists that were trying to turn regular objects into gold. And as I recall, that idea didn't work out too well either. Or maybe we're just dumber now. Musically, the track opens with high and nasally rapid downstrokes on a fuzzed out guitar, coasting through chord shifts with breezy indifference, all riding over Parker's thumping percussive drive. There's a brilliant little breakdown where the layers drop to a single guitar, laying down fuzzy licks, a trick the band revisits near the track's end before building everything back for a satisfying dramatic shift. Henson delivers the verses with a spitfire intensity. You can practically see him leaning down into the crowd, rapid-firing lyrics like a stage-delivered lecture. When the chorus hits, the guitar line slows down and waxes slightly, while the gang vocals surge back in, hammering the main points home before ripping back into the verses.
My favorite track, Idle Action, originally appeared on the album Pushing On, but here it gets the full makeover treatment, shaving almost a minute off the original runtime without losing an ounce of punch. Parker drives the track with drum pedal strikes while snare pops sharply that hit like green wood snapping in a fire. The guitars attack one at a time, double dutching in quick, fuzzed-out strikes, only easing off when Henson's gritty vocals take the lead, surging back in between verses like a sonic tide. The gang emphasis during the exclamation points is a perfect, especially when Hamilton quips, "You don't care that you are standing there with your middle fingers pointing up in the air." Up in the air. For the chorus, Henson shifts slightly melodic but pauses to impactfully sneer out Idle Action. Mid-track, one guitar snarls tight riffs over just a ting-ting tap drum, setting up the layered resurgent before pulling back to a stair-stepping riff that stalks the second guitar, which fires off hot sliding notes like shooting stars. Hamilton cues a "Let's go" to end the interlude, and the gang wah-oh-ohs land exactly where the crowd needs them, primed for chanting along. A short, soulful guitar solo erupts before slamming back into the chorus, and by now the whole room is singing along. It's got more solid hooks than a pirate convention.
Oi isn't just in the chants band shout, it's a whole ethos. The term was popularized by journalist and songwriter Gary Bushell to describe bands making punk accessible to everyday working people. Tacoma's own Noise seemed to embody that spirit perfectly. The band themselves say the new recording is the new iteration of Noise, sounds vital, energized, and ready to inspire the fight for change in the world at large and in people's hearts and minds. True to the OGs back in the UK, the movement may not have been born here, but that doesn't stop a band like this from claiming the torch and keeping the sizzle alive. The legions of fans rabidly agree. Meanwhile, I can't help but wonder if Edgar Allan Poe would be thrilled with a fuzzy raven mascots bearing his name in the end zone. But I'm guessing punk spirit jumping the pond translates a little better than the pit and the pendulum does to offensive line. From start to finish, Fate of the Union delivers exactly what you came for. Gritty, no-frills music, vocals delivered with a dedicated spit zone, and lyrics that tell it like it is, no abstract poetry to decode. Let's hear a little Idle Action.
Idle action. You don't care that you're standing there with your middle fingers pointing up in the air. We don't care
Okay, deaf ears too.
This is Masca with Love Letters. First off, and yes, I'm aware I say this all the time, but I tend to gravitate towards heavy rock, the kind that rattles your sternum, sparks a mosh pit, and makes you consider your insurance deductible before joining the wall of death. The UK trio Masca, formed in 2020 in Bristol, should not be anywhere near my musical comfort zone, or even parked outside it. This is not my lane, not my street. Hell, this isn't even my zip code. However, after a listen, they take melodic pop instincts, lace them with cheeky, vividly written lyrics, and rough it up just enough with grit-heavy rock to make me do a full double take, making me want to stick around, maybe even unpack a bag, possibly look at summer home listings.
Speaking of summer homes, they take their name from a small mountain village in Terranif, tucked deep in a valley and accessible by a series of winding, narrow roads. The drive to get there is an experience in itself, with roads weaved through the mountains. Traveling through these tracks has the same kind of open road feel, wandering in and out of moods and scenic shifts, and you never really know what lies around the next turn. But in spite of myself, it all is consistently pleasing. Love Letters is their debut album with 11 songs neatly packaged in the very radio-friendly 2 to 4 minute runtime. Elevate grabs you from the first strum. Christina Maynard's guitar bounces through quick, pop-punky chord shifts, strutting with confidence, while Jack Hamilton's drumline snaps tight, ratcheting up the tension. Ben Holyoke's bass pulses like a heartbeat under the groove, giving the gritty guitar something solid to ricochet off of, and keeping the momentum rolling. Maynard's vocals float somewhere between a slight Stevie Nicks warble and the sugar-coated, girlish melodic bounce of Gwen Stefani.
Lyrically, the song takes a tongue-in-cheek look at society's obsession with perfection, the Instagram-filtered ideal of success, and the endless scroll of TikTok approval. So elevate, elevate. She's gonna be a star someday. Just a little more TikTok time to waste. Hooked on hope. She loves the taste. The guitar warps out during the pre-chorus as if it too is feeling faint from the pressure to appear picture perfect. Mid-track, the drums drop to just woodblock conks while Maynard squeezes her riffs into tight little clusters over the repeated mantra, "Everyone's doing just fine," as if saying it enough could actually make it true. A wistful guitar melody opens up the whole thing, carrying it to its conclusion while Maynard's final words echo out alone. Sucker is another standout. It kicks off with Holyoke's bass, doing the heavy lifting, bouncing up and down like a rubber ball with a saucy, spicy attitude. It's the kind of infectious rebound that'll get your hips moving all on their own volition. Hamilton's drums flank the bass with a snappy snare and plenty of hi-hat claps, keeping the cut tight and dynamic. Meanwhile, Maynard's vocals spill out fast, yet she caresses and croons through each note like a cat, padding along, tail in the air, pausing to rub against a chair before resuming her stride. It feels just a touch mischievous. A higher guitar line dances above the melody a few bars up, adding a steel band-like shimmer to the pre-choruses. And when the chorus hits, "I'm a sucker for someone like you," it's bolstered by Motown-like ohs. And the song's midpoint, the arrangement bunches up, layering in organ-like tones that surge forward before fuzzing back out. Near the end, Maynard's vocals call out alone over a staticky, distorted guitar, "Wander," before everything swells wide open one last time. Let's play a clip. This is Sucker.
I'm a sucker for someone like you. I'm a sucker.
My favorite track, Digging, opens up with a bass solo because yes, I'm a moth to a flame for a bass-forward band. The line hops and skips like a kid on a hopscotch grid, pausing just enough to consider its next move before thoughtfully landing the next note. Hamilton's drums kick in with a mid-paced drive, one stick always tapping the cymbals. Maynard's vocals have a plush, cushy quality, letting words fly in tight, rapid-fire bunches, full of girlish charm, all while cycling through chords at a rapid strum.
Lyrically, this one delivers a sharp critique of the current political climate. If it were a weather forecast, it would come with a severe storm warning, much worse than a cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Come away from the precipice. You're a hypocrite. Everyone is. If all discourse is war, then how do we get better? The chorus brings in fellow Bristolians Ellie Godwin from Peach and Aisling Rhiannon from Sans Freud, layering harmonies and echoing lines in the style of ABBA. It's infectiously catchy, more contagious than a chickenpox at the summer camp in 1975. By the end, Maynard's voice floats alone over her chords and quick licks, with guest vocals shimmering like shooting stars before the percussion section kicks back in with effervescent energy. Seems like solid advice for those on a veritable slippery slope. If you're digging a hole, don't dig it too deep. The voice of reason for anyone who's gone in over their head.
So Masca might just be your next get out of your genre rut-free card. They run the gamut of weaving indie pop through alt-rock leaning riffs, sprinkling in a dash of doom and a little 70s flair for good measure. It's music built for movement, whether that's a casual foot tap or a full-on living room dance break when no one's watching but a confused cat. Or maybe that's just me. Take one look at the album cover. This trio, fully clothed, underwater in a pool, shot from above, and you'll immediately get a sense of their cheeky charm and willingness to do things a little differently.
One commenter called this open highway music. But maybe it's not just any highway. Maybe it's that same winding road leading to that far-off mountain village, the one that seemed a little out of reach at first. Turns out it's not that far after all. In fact, it's as close as your next spin of love letters. And with each listen, I keep picking up a little more weight, a little more grit. I missed out on the first few times, just enough to keep the heavy rock lifer in us happily fed. Let's hear Digging.
I'm looking at you and you're looking at me. We fall out of love with the people we've been. The river will bend all the way to the sea. If you're digging a hole, don't dig it too deep. Digging a hole, don't dig it too deep.
Okay, Death Force 3 is a new Celldweller Legacy of Kain soundtrack Ascendance. You know, life is full of little contradictions, isn't it? We humans are a curious species, are we not? For example, there is a rather large portion of the population I've discovered who likes books, but not reading. How can I best describe this group of people? Men. Honestly, I'm the only male that I know of who actually prefers donning the specs, flipping the pages, the whole tactile page-turning experience. Every other dude I know does the wait for the audiobook thing. Really? You're 44 years old and you have to have someone read to you? Sorry, but that's like saying that you like basil, but only 4-leaf basil.
Another one that gets me is the people who claim to love animals, but not cats. Really? Dogs are easy, people. Every time you walk through the door, it's like the first time for them. Where have you been? It's after 5. I lack the opposable thumbs to open up a can of dog food. But a cat makes you earn their affection. Walk in, a cat is like, you again? Will you be changing the litter anytime soon? I have my standards, you know. Okay, I will allow you to scratch me on the head and neck, but if you touch my back, I reserve the right to squeal like a banshee and bite the shit out of you. Proceed.
Well, just to be a sport, I'll share one of my little quirks. I love video game soundtracks, but I haven't played a video game since I was like 12 years old. I don't know what it was. I think I just like kind of outgrew it at some stage. But the soundtracks, Silent Hill 2, Doom, Killer Instinct, I could listen to that stuff all day. Like, just don't start asking me about like action RPGs, whether something is a shooter game or a platformer, because it'll be like deer in the headlights for the whole rest of the conversation.
This is really cool, actually, because I haven't reviewed a game soundtrack in like forever. And we haven't heard a new Celldweller music for over 3 years. Another cool thing about this release is he didn't tease it to death with singles. The soundtrack to the game, Legacy of Kain, Ascendance, consists of 16 songs, most in the 2 to 4 minute range, and pretty much all instrumental, save for an occasional voiceover or whoa in the background. The disc is packed with the Claytonisms we've grown to love. Pompey orchestral fanfares, glitchy electronic pulses, sick, thundering beats, and icy synth hooks, sometimes all at the same time. Janos is Slain is an immediate earworm with its futuristic Imperial March-style beat, thundering drums, and subsonic guitar riffing that backs it into violin-like synth melodies that carry the track's final crescendo. Message in Blood is classic hip-swiveling Celldweller with nimble cosmic keys and huge-sounding choral hooks swelling and gelling. The climax is one of the disc's catchiest moments, the final piano hook trailing off to marvelous effect. Let's play a clip. This is Message in Blood. The longest track on the disc is the 5+ minute epic, The Fall of Seraphan Raziel, a cut that takes its time, riding a stutter-stopping riff that dances with space keys and slowly moves into ominous 1,000-voice choral segments like it's getting all Star Wars on our asses.
Clayton's not afraid to yank the rug out from under us at any time in this track, all synths and guitars pulling away like we've been abandoned in mid-orbit. The melodies and percussion reassemble like some intergalactic robot whirring and clicking into place, only to shove our sorry asses into Deep Space Nine once again for the finale. While many of us have snickered at Clayton's recycled content, 4 CDs of Frozen remixes, really? This one is the real deal. It's over 45 minutes of music, and it flashes by like the shuttle flying over your head. The atmosphere is undeniably Celldweller. Cold, melodic, and bass like you just entered a Romulan rave battle. The vinyl and CD versions will go out in early October, so get your pre-orders in. Just don't ask me about kiting, camping, or Nerf stuff unless you want me to bust out Shatner's The Transformed Man on an endless loop, and you know I'll do it too. This is The Fall of Seraphan Raziel. And there it is. 38 episodes in.
No one knows what it's like to go from this to picking up our order at the liquor store.
No one goes to this being empty to picking up a order at the liquor store. That's the tragedy of it, you know.
This has been the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast. Special thanks to Bill from Impaler for appearing on the show. Snaggletooth theme courtesy of Jens Kemgren of the Firebombs. Deaf Ears theme by Tim Green of the Fucking Champs. Season 4 artwork courtesy of KC Angel. You can find him on Instagram at KC Angel Art. Deaf Ears bands include Celldweller, Masca, and Noise. All content 2026, the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.
No one knows what it's like to go from this to this. Hey, Janice, here's a chocolate fountain. Let's party.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.